I believe everything that happened in the past, including this problem I had, that crisis was the best thing that ever happened to me. It changed the way I my faith. It changed the way I do business. I would never have the success if I had not gone through that. So I value the past. So I look at all the events in the past and as gifts, because I think wisdom is, it's good judgment, learn from bad judgment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Total Michigan, where we interview ordinary Michiganders doing some pretty extraordinary things. I'm your host, Cliff Duperon. If you're saying to yourself, wow, things look different, well, I'm happy to report that we are actually filming this at our new Studio T, is what I'm calling it, T for Terry. We've got this wonderful building, this wonderful location, and I foresee a lot of interviews just taking place here. The show is growing, and I'm just beyond excited to make that happen. With that being said, I couldn't think of any better person to have on the show to kick off this inaugural episode, the new things that are happening, and there's definitely a lot going on in his life. He's actually been a previous guest on the show. That would be Terry Duperon. He is the founder of the Duperon Corporation, as well as Duperon Education. And if you want to get to know his full backstory, make sure to go back and listen to episode 79 of the show. We're actually going to do a quick recap of that right now before we jump into the meat of that. But let's go ahead and get started. Terry, how are you?
I'm great so far.
So far, yes.
Yes.
It's been a while since you and I have sat down in front of the microphones and chatted.
It is. It's always a new experience when I do it.
Nice. So, Terry, let's explore your backstory just for a little bit because we got new listeners here. But talk to us a little bit about where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I was raised on a farm in Indian Town, Saginaw, Michigan, Saginaw County. I grew up here till I was 18, got married, and moved not far away, but I moved to a different place. But I went to school, little school in Indian Town. There was 4 in my graduating class in the 8th grade.
Now, was it one of these schools where you had like all the grades in the same classroom?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, we were bigger. We had 2 rooms.
2?
Big room and a little room. Yeah,
okay.
we're coming up in the world. And so you went from 1st to 4th and then from 5th to 8th in the other room. That's where I got my education, which didn't go real well because of the reading, writing problems.
Right.
Then I went to Saginaw High.
Now, this was in the 50s, right?
I was born in 43.
So late 40s, early 50s?
Yeah,
going
early
to school?
50s, yeah.
And when you talked before about the reading and writing problems, right? And of course, people didn't know this at the time, but later on you were diagnosed as dyslexic.
Yeah, and then I found out it's a pretty serious case because I couldn't read and write, and I have the attention span of a gnat. Short in that story is that when I was in the 3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher asked me to stand up and read a 1st grade book, Dick and Jane, and I couldn't read it. I was in front of the class. Everybody in my world was in that classroom. I realized there's something wrong with me. I couldn't do what they could do. And so at that time, you're just not that smart. The first time I felt inferior, I got sick to my stomach up there. It was awful. But around that same time, we studied the inventors, and they become my heroes because I believe they only did one thing, and they were rich.
So we're talking about inventors like Henry Ford, Edison.
Yep. Whitney, that group, and I was really impressed with that. So I had this dream at that time, at 8 years old, I was going to be an inventor and make my living off my inventions. But when I was about 19, I got my first patent. And it said, U.S. Patent Office, Terry Duperon, inventor.
So if we break this down a little bit, just to go back for there and give the audience a little bit of a clue, right? You still struggled to read and write at this time, but you still managed to get a patent.
Yeah, it's 2 different skills.
Yes.
So and I had a mechanical aptitude, so I run with that aptitude. With that mechanical aptitude, I learned that success has nothing to do with what I'm not. Run with what you got. I had that. So when I got the patent. Yeah, I remember the 8th grade. I remember making this commitment to this dream of mine. Pretty unrealistic dream if I told anybody I had it.
Right.
But it happened. So then it become, how does a 3rd grade boy cause that future?
Right.
And then I decided it's got to be in the way you think. So I think whether you're successful or not is all in the way you think.
I agree.
And so That
But-
led to Duperon Education.
Right. So before we jump into that real quick, just to finish your story
Okay.
and round it up. So you start finally, because you got more than one patent.
Oh, yeah.
One of your inventions actually takes off. You have actually built a business
Oh, yeah. Around
that patent,
Yeah.
right? And at the time of the interview, if I remember correctly, your company was set to clear north of $20 million at that time.
Yeah. Now that's pushing 50.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
and these people growing up, and I'm kind of filling in your story a little bit here, but a lot of people asking you why you were dumb, you were stupid, why can't you read?
Yep.
But here you are, you've gone off and you have somehow built this company. You've got the right group of people in place now.
Yeah.
You employ dozens,
77 people right now.
77. And this is a combination of like really smart engineers.
Engineers, project managers,
Correct.
mostly expensive people.
Yes. Now for you yourself, because you're in your 80s now, you didn't learn how to read until when?
7 years ago.
7 years ago. And you
did-
built all of that in spite of the fact that you couldn't read or
memory.
write.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So 7 years ago, I decided I would try to read, and I got a book called Jesus Calling, and I was going to spend a little spiritual time in the morning. So I read one page, and I really struggled to read that page. So I read one page a day for 7 years, same book, over and over and over again. I still don't trust what I read because I screw words up. Even when I think I have it memorized, there's a word close to that, I mess it up. so I get enough out of it that I can read things to some degree, but I don't read anything that I have to depend on without verifying it, because you can put the wrong word in a sentence and it fits. It makes a whole different meaning.
Yes, that's true.
So
You were talking before about how you decided to fire up Duperon Education.
yeah,
And I got to say, there's a certain irony here because you are the high school dropout.
yes.
You don't have a college degree, but you decided to start a school.
Well, first I was asked by the Dean of Engineering and Science at Saginaw Valley State University if I would, he knew I was an entrepreneur, if I would teach entrepreneurship to senior engineers.
Oh boy.
Yeah, what a challenge. So it was an opportunity. So I weigh every opportunity by two things. Number one, does this opportunity take me closer to this man God created or further away? And I know who I am by the things I love and care about, matter to me, make a difference.
Right.
So, and the other one, does it take me closer to one of my dreams? I have faith in dreams now because of my third grade dream happened. I remember standing at the door saying, Terry, what are you doing here? You don't know what a university does. You don't know what a professor does. What makes you think you can teach senior engineers anything? But I remember success has nothing to do with what I'm not. And never be the one that limits you was my other phrase I hung on to. So I'm not throwing me out before they do. Okay. Good chance I'll get thrown out because I have no idea what I'm doing. But it fit me. It fit who I am, where I wanted to go. I wanted to grow the company 25% a year. And I thought if I could teach people how to reinvent what they do in themselves every year, you could grow a company that fast.
Right.
And so that it fit me. If it where I wanted to go, it fit who I am. The challenge did. Whether I know how or not, evidently doesn't seem to be in the equation.
Right.
So I went in there, screwed it up. I panicked, tried to be whatever I thought a professor was, put everybody in a coma in 10 minutes. And I thought they're not going to let me back, but they did. So I asked a real teacher, what's important when you teach anybody anything? And she said that you know where they're at. So I started drawing on the board based on let's figure out where they're at. And then the class started to evolve and develop. The teaching aid developed. After 3 years there, I thought if you're going to teach it, you ought to be able to start your own business, your own school. So I started Duperon Education.
There's the entrepreneur again.
Yeah. So now that's gone on 20-some years.
How many students do you think have gone through that program?
Oh, a couple thousand.
At least.
Yeah, there was 6 professors from the university took this.
Because it's been a collection, like you talk about 6 professors at university, but we're talking also like CEOs
Oh, yeah.
of, big companies in the area. We've had, professors that have come through, but it's not just, people that you might think would be like overachievers. Like in the first time that I took the class, right? You had somebody who had a lawn care
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, all
You
kinds
had
of
an
things.
engineer that had a patent for a kitty litter
Yeah.
box,
Right.
So it literally
Mhm.
was an eclectic mix
Yeah.
of people, and we all got value from the class.
Yeah, what usually happens is when people come into the class, they really don't know who they are, where they're going, because they just don't think about it. They're just busy.
Well, they're following the plan,
Yeah.
right? This is your life. You work at a job for 40 years and then you retire, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And everybody gets programmed, and
we all get programmed. Yep.
right. Now the class, what I'm doing is expanding that, where I'm doing some videos so other people can teach it.
You're talking about an online version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be there. So that's coming to play.
Cool. You have the class, and the class is going on. You've had students that are going through. You've got this new project going on. One of the things that happened not too long after you and I had our first interview back in the day
Hmm.
was you started up one degree.
Yes. What I was doing before that is I wanted to do startup businesses, and I was
Now, when you say do them, you want to invest in them?
invested in them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking for an entrepreneur, or a wannabe entrepreneur to start with.
Right.
And I want to do another book, be my 5th book. Can't read and write, you want to do books.
Oh, that's great.
So I want to do books. This fifth one is, I want to know why so many startups fail, and what can I put in place so they don't fail, and who's most likely to succeed in the entrepreneur world.
Right.
Okay, so I've got 12 startups right now. I want to do 20 more. And they're all different. There's cafes and bakeries and gift shops and wood shops, and just recently buying a boat company, and 3 marketing companies. They all different. And the first one I did was Kay's Cafe in Frankamo.
Mm-hmm.
Young girls is 21 years old, out of culinary school, really creative in the food she makes, wants to be in her own business. So I'll use her as a first study. There's a lot I need to glean out of it more. So she asked me, she said, I found this little cafe. So I said, well, I told you if you wanted, we'll partner up. So what that partner looks like is I own 51%. I buy the material.
Right.
And she owns 49. And then the objective is she buys me out. I don't have a profit in this. The study is my profit. Okay, so I do that for her. So I buy the equipment and get her set up. And then she takes it and makes her own wages. But about 2 months in it, 2 months in it, she says, I hate this. This is the worst job I've ever had.
Because it's tough going from employee to business owner.
Oh my gosh. She's young, and I know that where she's been trained. Okay, if you look at our school system, failure is heavily punished. Failure is not acceptable. So if you're in the 2nd grade and you flunk, you don't get to 3rd grade. If you flunk a test, you get exposed to the class as being not smart enough.
Right.
Or you don't get your diploma, or you don't get your degree. So failure is heavily punished, right up to doctor's degrees. So she's coming out of a system where failure is unacceptable. And I'm putting her in a system where failure is essential. It's trial and error.
Right. Because that's where you do most of your learning.
Pretty much all of it.
Yeah,
You try things, they work, some don't. Well, 2 months into it, she don't know how many eggs to have. She don't know how much help to have. And she's making mistakes right and left. So she's feeling anxiety and overwhelm and depression, which I know she's gonna, because there's this transition. So I tell her I'm her champion, her coach, and I tell her that you're gonna wonder where the love of God went here in the next few months. So you are have to make this transition. You're gonna have to run the gauntlet.
Right.
I tell her, if you hold the course, you will come out of this wiser and stronger. So she holds the course. And about 11 months into it, she said, I'll make mistakes, but I think I can handle that. And I got really excited because she's making it.
Right.
She's got faith in herself, faith in endeavor, and faith how to show itself, that she'll figure it out. So then she started to grow. She tried catering, which really expanded. So the 1 Degree Club is to help people like her. The whole purpose of the 1 Degree Club, well, let me first start with the name, 1 Degree. I've never met anybody in my life that hasn't changed my life at least 1 degree. You're
Right.
one of them, changed my life. Okay, so that's where the name comes from.
Right.
And we're there to be champions, to have champions, and to be mentors and to have mentors. Because these startups or these people trying something new, we need champions and mentors. And we need to be it, and we need to mentor other people. Because you always have something to give and to learn. So that's the purpose of 1 Degree Club. It's to fill that gap. That's what I'm trying to put in place so they don't fail. They have the strength of people they know that they can trust, and they develop relationships.
Right.
So that's where that came from. And so we're still doing that, and that seems to be doing all right now.
And again, that's another program that's basically open to anyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a business owner. You could be...
Yeah, everybody can come
Anybody can come and be a part of that.
Yeah, and everybody has something to offer. If you lived any life at all, there are people that need you.
Right.
And then there's people you need. So it's a matter of developing a culture that's what it looks like. And so that's new, and it's coming along.
The one thing I have to say I like about the 1 Degree event, and this is something that I've seen at all of them, is we all start off with the same question: what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
It's not a networking event where everybody is saying, like you walk in there and say, how can I get business from this, right? How can I get a client from this?
Yeah.
Everybody walks in that room and says to each other, what can I do to help you?
Yeah, and that's the objective. And
Yeah.
if we can create that culture where that's just what we do, that's the intent of it. So now I got 12 startups, and I want to have a place for them to meet and to go. Now, this building we're in, bought this just for startups. So we're remodeling it, setting it all up for startup businesses. So there's a lot of offices, there's some lounge areas, there's a hall for the 1 Degree Club, and we're gonna do the classes here.
Right.
So there's so much to learn because every business is different. Actually, what helps people is to be in their 30s, okay, because they've had enough mistakes in their life, enough failures that not scaring them so much.
Right.
But I think the reason that there's only 7% of the country as entrepreneurs is because we're taught to fear failure. So the best gift I got from my school years, I learned how to fail. I don't like it, never feels good, but it doesn't own me.
Right.
Okay? It doesn't control what I do. I can accept failure, but I can't accept not trying,
Yes, that's big.
So that's how I ended up in that class. I walked in there because I can handle the humiliation of failure, but I can't handle quitting before I try.
Yeah. And what you're talking about there, and I've seen this so much, is, and I've even been guilty of this myself on times, you don't even want to try because you're afraid. You've already convinced yourself you're going to fail.
Yeah.
So if I already know I'm going to fail, why even try?
Yeah, where I have a good chance of failure and I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm finding out that if you don't be the one that limits you, very little does. I mean, there's a university setting where I'm not equipped for.
Right.
But they kept me. I learned and I learned and I learned. So I'm starting to, in studying some of the characteristics of who's most likely to succeed. And this is a simplification of it. Some people have at it without knowing what they're doing because they believe they'll figure it out.
Right.
Okay. Those are also our leaders in a company. It's just the difference between a good leader and an entrepreneur is the amount of risk. But a good leader is risking. He's risking embarrassment. He's leading. He can do things wrong.
Right.
So an entrepreneur will just do it from nothing, okay, and start with nothing, where a good leader in the company is something to start with. So there's a difference, but a lot of the characteristics are the same. Now, so I've been looking at Duperon Corporation, looking at its leaders, and I'm trying to figure out why this seems to work well. So, for example, we have Mike, who is project manager. We want to go into international. We want to go into Mexico. Well, we thought Mike could speak Spanish. He can't. But anyways, he wanted to step up to work on the international side. Now, Mike has no training, no school. He's not went to college. Never read a book on international marketing. He's our international marketing guy because he'll just have at it.
Right.
Okay, what the advantage of just having at it is, without knowing what you're doing, is that everything you touch is real time. So he's talking to an international customer now, not a book he read 5 years ago. Okay?
Right.
He's talking to them now. He's learning from that customer right now. So everything he learns is in real time. So now he's got to work. He's working on a job in Baghdad. And so now he's got to work with the World Bank. He didn't know the World Bank. But he starts calling around. He starts calling all the agencies that will help us here. Now he's learning the World Bank as it is today in present time. So everything he learns is real time. That's what makes him so valuable. He's put us in Colombia, Peru, Baghdad, Italy, New Zealand, Australia. They come to my mind right now.
And
And he
somebody
never
who doesn't
touched it
have,
before.
he doesn't have his degree in international marketing, no experience in international marketing, but
None.
yet he's really done a wonderful job of expanding your footprint.
Amazing job, because everything he learns is now. It's in the present. So to me, that the person that'll just have at it is so valuable because of the way he learns in real time.
Right.
So there's, and he not only learns it, he can apply it. Okay. We just talked to Israel. I mean, he's got people coming from everywhere. So how's a guy that don't know what he's doing do that?
Right.
There's a certain characteristics of people who excel. You got to have them same talents. You got to be able to just have at it without knowing what you're doing, because you'll figure it out, because you started a new business. And when you start a business, there ain't much you know about it.
That's true.
A few things, and the rest is learned on the job. Rest is learned trial and error by mistakes.
Right.
So the 1 Degree Club is to support anybody who wants to do anything, and that they get to know each other, and you'll find people you trust and you want to work with. And so it's social enough to just get to know each other.
For our audience, we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. Once again, today we're talking with Terry Duperon of the Duperon Corporation, as well as Duperon Education. And we will see you after the break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Total Michigan, where we interview ordinary Michiganders doing some pretty extraordinary things. I'm your host, Cliff Duveinois. Today, we are joined by Terry Duperon, founder of Duperon Education, Duperon Corporation, all around nice guy.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Before the break, we were talking about the class and putting together the class and how you really don't have any real formal training in doing this, but you did put it together. And the class really is, I recommend anybody who's listening to this to definitely sign up for the class if you haven't done it. Really is good, and it really is worthwhile. What I would like to do is I would like to first off talk a little bit about the purpose of the class, right? What is the outcome? Like, somebody signs up for the class and they walk away from it. What is it that you're hoping that they get from it?
I hope they get a little better look at who they are and where they want to go. When I talk about dreams, a dream is just hope for a better future.
Right.
Or a future that you would like. And then the class is in how do you cause that?
Right.
What skills you need to cause that? So the focus is figure out who you are, where you want to go, and I can show you ways to cause it, and not the way, because everybody will do their own version of that, but a way. But the class is not set up to save anybody's soul. Or it doesn't have that purpose. It isn't there to fix anybody, because I don't know anybody broken.
Right.
It's just kind of take a look at this and see if it works for you, see if it matters to you. So I get a lot of people come back and say it changed their life. And I never ask them how did it change their life, because it seems like I'd be putting them on the spot, but
Oh, I think you should.
should do that study probably.
If they're going to make that bold of a statement, the class changed their life, you should ask how, in what way.
I should. I have not. It seems like when somebody says that, it's like a nice thing to say, and I don't want to put them on the spot, but maybe I should follow up on that.
Oh, you should definitely put them on the spot.
Yeah.
I say that because when we're talking about like people taking the class and a lot of them come in and they don't know the direction that they're heading or whatever.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I found interesting when I took the class, like I talked about before, about like the first time that I took it was literally about this show.
Yeah.
Right. In the direction I wanted to go. And I had some ideas that I really wanted to explore, but I wasn't exactly sure what had happened. But there was a young lady sitting in the classroom, and hers was, I think it was a trip to Paris.
Okay.
Right. That was like her dream. And she revealed that in class. So it's not necessarily, it has to be business centric. You know, it's what is next for you, whether that's taking that European vacation you've always dreamed of. Maybe it is starting a business. Maybe it's starting a nonprofit. You know, who knows? So it just seemed like there's a lot of different people with different dreams that come in there that your class accommodates.
Yeah, and some of them figure out how they're going to do it. I had a professor in a class who wanted to take students to Africa, to Ghana, because she was connected to Ghana to another professor at the university. And that was her dream, but she didn't see any way she could possibly do that because it costs a lot. So I said, how many students you want to take? And she said, I don't know, 12. I said, well, what would it cost for plane tickets and 10 days in Africa? She says, it probably costs $4,000. I says, I'll buy 2 students. Okay, now you got 2 students. Okay, all you have to do is find somebody else to sponsor the rest of them. And she did it.
Yeah.
She did it. She pulled it off. And she's taken several years now. She's taken students. But she's in a world where that entrepreneurship is a kind of a foreign language in the education system.
Right.
Because you teach what you learned and you spit it out and teach it again to somebody else. So I've seen it happen in the class.
So what I'd like to do is I want to explore, because I love these things. People that know you call them T-isms.
Yeah.
Right. These little sayings that you use, and you put out about 4 or 5 of them today during this interview. But the one that I love the most personally that really resonates with me is take the next clear step.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So talk to us a little bit about what that meaning is. Where did that even come from?
I built a business doing up to $5 million projects. And then I lost everything I had plus $1 million I didn't have. So that's a hot spot.
Yeah, you're looking at bankruptcy, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't have enough money to go bankrupt.
Okay.
It cost money to go. So the thing that saved me, I was so poor, I owed $1 million on a $100,000 house, so nobody sues you. But they try.
Right.
So I spent a really rough year. Well, anyways, I fight the good fight. I get subpoenas every day. I'm in court all the time. I can't pay them. They should be upset. So I'm the bad guy. I can't, I'm the villain here in this story. So fight the good fight for about a year. And then I just fell apart. And I retreated to bed. And I just lay there. And I remember I pray, okay? I'm telling God, I got nothing. I don't have another idea. I have no idea how I'll get out of this mess. I have no idea. If I got up, I wouldn't know what I should do. So I just lay here. In all that muddle and confusion, this one clear thought shows up, and it was do only what's clear. So I thought, probably clear to get my butt out of bed. Been a while. I'll do that. And it's clear to take a shower. It's been a while. I do that. Clear to go to the office. Answer the phone. I answer the phone. I owe this person in California service on the machine. So I tell him my situation. And he said, and I said, I can't, I feel I owe you, but I'm not in a position to do it because of the problems I'm having right now. But I do owe you that service. I says, if you give me the men and the equipment and the cranes and stuff you need to do it, I will find a way to get there. So that was clear to say that. I get on a plane. I got it was like $120 flight there and back. And I'm staying in flop houses because I didn't know money.
Right.
They give me the crew. I did what my responsibility was, flew back. So all I did is start one clear thought at a time. I started to live that every day. I didn't mastermind my way out of that. I just did the next clear step. That was when I was 53, I think. And I've been doing it ever since. So here's where this ends up in my belief system. I believe everything that happened in the past, including this problem I had, that crisis was the best thing that ever happened to me. Changed the way my faith. It changed the way I do business. I would never have the success if I had not gone through that. So I value the past. So I look at all the events in the past, and there's a lot of things that did not go well,
right,
as gifts, because I think wisdom it's good judgment learned from bad judgment. So all of these things.
I like that.
Yeah,
Is that another T-ism?
It should be, right? But all of those things in the past give me some wisdom, and it has a value.
Right.
And not only that, I think God turns things into being from that to something really good for you. So you get wisdom and you get this gift.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that anything I say about the future is BS. I mean, I made it up. I can say I'm going to go home, kiss the wife, had supper. I may not get across that street. Yet I would think I can predict the future. I can't.
Right.
So where it boils down, where I am today and have been for quite a while. By the way, 3 years later, I didn't even have a car payment. I did not mastermind my way out of that. I just kept taking the next clear step. I continue to do this, the next clear step. And so I value the past as a gift it gives. So I don't regret it, and I can't undo it anyhow. So.
Right.
And I don't go into the future because it's made up. I can make any story I want. It doesn't matter.
Right. It's the future.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know it. So then all I have is the present. So now I was an atheist for a long time, and as I started to find God, which is a long story, somebody told me that I had a teacher and a guide, a Holy Spirit. And I'm developing a relationship with my Creator, a little at a time, slow process for me. So I'd say, all right, I'll accept that possibility that I have a teacher and a guide. Well, it's got to talk to me. So I'm saying, how would a Holy Spirit talk to me? And I thought it would be clear. I'm the author of Muddled Confusion. That would be clear. So I know what I know. I trust my own mind. I take the next clear step. I don't know when I get guidance, but I'm open to it.
Right.
I've been doing that now for a lot of years. This interview today is because it's a clear step. I have no idea what's going to happen next, where this is going to go, nor do I want to find out. I don't, because you can't find out. You're guessing.
Right.
So it's all I can do, know what I know, take the next clear step, put my toe in the water. I have enough faith to do that. I have enough trust in my Creator to not to ask for 2 steps. Because for some reason, it's never been a fortune teller for me. And I suck at being a fortune teller. I'm always wrong. So I quit doing that. So I just live in this, just one clear step at a time.
Right.
Very freeing, brings a lot of peace. All of that has been a real gift to me. So now I live a life where I love my life. I'm at peace. Not always. I get days I don't like me, let alone you. So I don't like nobody. But we're just human. And as long as we're human, we have that. So
now when you're designing the class and you're putting it together, the lecture notes, whatever. Actually, I don't even think you really have lecture notes.
no,
But
and I have no notes.
yeah, no notes. You just stand up there and talk, which is great. What gave you the idea to sprinkle it? Because you got a whole bunch of these T-isms. We could probably spend, I don't know, the next 4 or 5 episodes just covering all the different T-isms that you have. But what made you decide to bake these T-isms into your class?
Well, I was doing a class at Saginaw Valley. We're going to do something to put it online. And I was talking to the people that do that at Saginaw Valley. So we put a class together. And they get full classes, it seems, no matter what you're teaching. So pretty soon I got a full class. So I'm teaching the class, and this lady's writing down everything I say. And then she handed me this whole list of comments I made, and she called them T-isms. And so that's where that came from. She was writing them down.
Right.
And then we decided to go through it and see why I'm saying those things. So that's where they came from. I hate to talk too much about spiritual things because I never read the Bible. Okay, so everybody knows more about that than I do. I tell stories to make a point. Most of the stories are from personal experience because I have no choice. I don't have anything else. So if the story I tell doesn't work, I don't have anything else.
Right.
Okay, I can't quote a book. Okay, I can quote somebody that I heard, but most of them is personal stories.
Mm-hmm.
So the class consists of a lot of those stories. Through the class, each step has method in the madness. Okay, because one of the things I find out in the class that people are really hard on themselves. They find all kinds of fault in themselves, and they judge themselves harshly. So to get them to see who they are, I got to get them in the first 3 sessions, I got to get them to see them. Because I'm going to show them how to see opportunities. Because I see so many, I can't possibly do them all. I have to pick and choose. Well, opportunities are just raw. So what I'm trying to do is the first question you should ask when you see an opportunity, does it take me closer to me? Does it fit this man or this woman? So I'm realizing they find so much fault with that person, they don't really see them. I have experience with that, so I try and apply it to the class. So I ask questions like, write down 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses, and you got to get up and talk about it. Well, for one thing, I want them to talk about something personal that matters to them to share with the class, because class bonds.
Yes, they do.
And another thing is, when they get all done, I just tell them, cross off the weaknesses you got here on your strengths. You didn't get here on your weakness. The more time you spend with your weakness, the less time you got to go with your strengths. I'm trying to shift just a little bit. And I tell stories about my own personal experience.
So Terry, why don't you tell us real quick, what's next? What is that next clear step?
I won't know it till I see it. If it's not clear, I don't do it. It's clear, I do it. This is my next clear step. I'm living it. Do I know why this is so? I don't know.
And just real quick, Terry, for our audience, if they want to check out 1 Degree, if they want to check out the class, where's the best place for them to do that?
Call Cindy.
Yes.
Cindy's my assistant, and she can read and write, and she keeps notes. So, see, I heavily rely on her, but she fills in those spots.
For our audience, we'll have those links all in the show notes down below. Terry, it's been great having you on the show. We need to do this more often.
Anytime you want.
As long as it's the next clear step, right?
Exactly. So you got a chance because you didn't scare me too bad.
Well, not like last time. I think last time you were terrified.
Yeah, so. I think so too.
But you did great. And for our audience, like I said, you can get all the links to the class, 1 Degree, if you want to check that out in the show notes down below. We'll see you next time when we talk to another Michigander doing some pretty extraordinary things. We'll see you then.